Just in, an announcement that could reshape the lives of millions of Canadians, especially seniors who have been holding on for months, waiting, watching, and wondering if relief would ever come. The word spreading across communities tonight is simple but powerful: Old Age Security and the Canada Pension Plan are reportedly set to bring in a new monthly raise. For many, this isn't just a number on a government statement, it's a moment of dignity, a moment of recognition, and a moment that feels long overdue. For years, seniors across Canada have been raising the same concern: their retirement income simply isn't keeping pace with the cost of living. Groceries that used to cost $50 now easily push past $100. Rent increases arrive like clockwork, and prescriptions, some costing hundreds of dollars a month, eat away at what little is left. Many seniors have quietly admitted to rationing medication, cutting portions of food, or skipping social outings simply to make their pension stretch from one month to the next. These are not luxuries, they are essentials, and the gap between what seniors receive and what life actually costs has been widening at a pace that feels unsustainable. This is the backdrop against which the latest announcement landed. Sources suggest that both OAS and CPP recipients will see a new monthly boost, figures being discussed hover around $85 to $120 more per person. That may not sound monumental at first glance, but for seniors already balancing every dollar, it's transformative. A single senior living on a fixed pension could see their income rise by close to $1,000 more over a year. For couples, the difference could be double. For many, that is the difference between choosing which bill to pay and being able to cover them all without panic. But this decision didn't come quickly or easily. Pressure has been mounting for months. Senior advocacy groups have been calling for increases of at least 10%, pointing to inflation that has stripped away the real value of pensions. Petition after petition made its way to Ottawa. Letters poured in from across the country, stories of seniors moving in with adult children because they could no longer afford rent, of retired workers lining up at food banks despite having contributed to CPP their entire careers. The message was clear: without change, the system that was built to protect seniors risked failing them altogether. Behind the scenes, officials reportedly wrestled with the numbers. Raising pensions comes with a price tag that stretches into the billions. Critics inside the government warned of fiscal strain, arguing that increasing benefits too aggressively could balloon the national deficit. Economists debated whether a modest raise would keep pace with inflation or simply act as a temporary band-aid. Yet, on the other side of the argument, social policy experts pushed back hard. They said the real cost was not in government spending, but in the daily suffering of seniors, the cost of illness, the cost of poverty, and the long-term social consequences of leaving a growing segment of society behind. Tonight, seniors are reacting with cautious optimism. In living rooms from Vancouver Island to Newfoundland, the news is being discussed with a mixture of hope and disbelief. For a retired widow in Calgary, an extra $100 a month means she no longer has to split her heating bill across 2 months. For a couple in rural Manitoba, it means finally being able to take the long drive to see their grandchildren without worrying about gas prices draining their grocery fund. For a retired teacher in Toronto, it's the ability to keep up with a rising condo fee without dipping into emergency savings. And yet, not everyone is celebrating. Some taxpayers worry that the cost of higher pensions will eventually come back to younger generations, already burdened with high housing prices and stagnant wages. Business leaders have also raised concerns, pointing out that many companies are still struggling post-pandemic, and any shift in contributions could mean higher payroll expenses. Opposition parties have seized on these concerns, framing the move as either too little, too late, or as a reckless expansion that fails to tackle the root issue of affordability. In short, the debate is far from over. Still, for seniors, this moment carries weight beyond politics. It is a recognition of decades of work, contributions, and taxes paid. It is an acknowledgement that retirement should not mean living in fear of the next bill, the next rent increase, or the next visit to the pharmacy. It is a signal, however small, that the voices of older Canadians are being heard, even if only after years of persistence. The timeline for implementation, while not entirely locked in, appears to point toward the next few benefit cycles. Analysts suggest that by the time the next round of payments arrive, seniors could already see the difference reflected in their accounts. That possibility alone has sparked celebration in community centers, seniors clubs, and even online forums where retirees gather to share advice and frustrations. The anticipation feels almost electric, a reminder that small changes can bring enormous relief. The question now is what happens next. Will this raise be enough to keep pace with inflation if prices continue their relentless climb? Will future adjustments be tied more closely to the realities of housing, food, and medical costs? Or will this moment, historic as it feels, fade into just another incremental shift, leaving the larger challenges unresolved? These are questions that seniors, families, and policymakers alike are already beginning to ask. But for today, for this moment, the story is less about politics and more about people. About a grandmother who can buy fresh fruit for her grandchildren without checking her wallet twice. About a retired bus driver who can finally replace his worn-out winter coat. About dignity, quiet, often overlooked, but deeply powerful dignity, restored in small but significant ways. This is more than just a policy update. It is a reminder that behind every dollar, every raise, every government decision, there are lives hanging in the balance. Lives that have contributed to building this country, and lives that deserve to live out their retirement years with security and respect. And while critics may continue to argue over costs and consequences, the reality for seniors is immediate and personal. That extra deposit each month, however modest, carries the weight of recognition, of relief, and of a country taking one step closer to honoring the people who built it. The story doesn't end here. The challenges remain, the debates continue, and the future is far from certain. But for millions of seniors across Canada, the news breaking tonight brings with it a rare and powerful feeling, hope. Hope that tomorrow's bills will be easier to face, that dignity is not just a word in political speeches, and that the system is, at least for now, bending a little closer toward fairness. Because sometimes, a few extra dollars each month can mean more than numbers. It can mean peace of mind, independence, and the reassurance that no one is forgotten. This is the story of Canada's seniors today. A story of struggle, of resilience, of long-awaited recognition, and perhaps, just perhaps, the beginning of something bigger.